Detroit Lions have just made a series of moves that are shaking up the locker room and taking fans completely by surprise. This has just happened and is already dominating the conversation among fans in Detroit. The team announced several roster changes, including the signing of a key offensive line reinforcement, the loss of a cornerback due to injury, and the arrival of a new defensive back to the practice squad. These moves show that head coach Dan Campbell and general manager Brad Holmes are fine-tuning every detail of the roster for the decisive Week 6 matchup against none other than the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the biggest challenges of the season. And before I tell you who's here, who's gone, and what this means for the Lions' immediate future, like and subscribe to the channel, because we'll detail everything that's happening behind the scenes for this team that remains determined to fight for the top spot in the NFC. Starting with the move that caught the most attention, Dan Skipper is back on the Lions' active roster. The veteran offensive lineman, known for his versatility and commitment, was promoted from the practice squad to the main 53-man roster. Skipper had started the season on the practice squad after dealing with a series of injuries, but is now 100% and ready to contribute again, especially if Taylor Decker, one of the cornerstones of the offensive line, needs more recovery time. This decision shows the team is taking precautions, keeping the protection of Jared Goff a top priority, especially with the Lions' offense being one of the most potent in the league and their next opponent being Patrick Mahomes' explosive Chiefs. But it wasn't all good news. Cornerback Khalil Dorsey was officially placed on injured reserve and will be out of action indefinitely. This is a tough blow, especially since Dorsey had been playing a key role on special teams and emerging as one of the most consistent players on that team. After recovering from a serious leg injury last season, he was finally getting back into rhythm, but now he will face another period of absence. And the problem doesn't stop there. The Lions are experiencing a veritable nightmare on the defensive end, with Terrion Arnold dealing with a shoulder injury and DJ Reed also out of the rotation with a hamstring injury. These losses have put the coaching staff on high alert, and the subsequent moves demonstrate just that. Even though Arnold has avoided being placed on injured reserve for now, the team continues to closely monitor his fitness and his timetable for return to the field. Internal news has been somewhat encouraging, but nothing is guaranteed. Dan Campbell has been blunt in stating that the staff is still evaluating his recovery time, which means the team may need to improvise for a few weeks. Faced with this uncertainty, the Lions have once again reached out to the market for help in the secondary, and that's when the team announced the addition of cornerback Arthur Maulet to the practice squad. This move is more important than it seems. Maulet is a seasoned player with stints with the Saints, Colts, Jets, Steelers, Ravens, and Texans, and can play both nickel corner and special teams. He entered the NFL in 2017 as an undrafted free agent and has built a reputation as a disciplined and physical player, traits that perfectly fit the defensive style demanded by Campbell and Aaron Glenn. The Lions head coach has made it clear he wants more depth and aggressiveness on defense, and the addition of Maulet could be a strategic asset to achieve just that. It's worth noting that Detroit recently attempted to bring in former Chargers veteran Michael Davis, but negotiations fell through. Even so, the front office wasted no time. In addition to Maulet, Nick Whiteside, Trey Flowers, and 32-year-old veteran Eric Hallett were also added to the practice squad in recent weeks. These names demonstrate that the front office is building a true emergency stock for the defensive end, essential in a long and unpredictable season like the NFL's. During his weekly interview with 97.1 The Ticket, Dan Campbell spoke candidly about how the team has been working to prepare players further down the depth chart, and what he said paints a good picture of the team's philosophy. "We give these guys a ton of reps," the coach stated. "We always try to make sure they're ready, even if they haven't played yet. We do one-on-ones, two-on-ones, and also in simulations with the scouting team. It's all about preparation and consistency, so that when the time comes, they can go in and execute without hesitation." This statement reinforces how much Detroit has been relying on its collective strength, its culture of hard work, and the mindset that every player matters. These changes come at a crucial time. The Lions are facing a tough schedule and facing a series of adversities, especially in the medical department. Still, the mood within the franchise remains one of confidence and complete focus. With the return of Dan Skipper, the arrival of Arthur Maulet, and the hope that Terrion Arnold will return soon, Detroit is trying to maintain its solid structure, adjusting the pieces without losing momentum. The matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs will be the true test of whether this roster depth is enough to sustain the level of competition the team has demonstrated since the beginning of the season. One thing is certain: the Detroit Lions are moving, adapting, and showing they won't let injury slow them down. Campbell and his staff are building a resilient roster ready to face any scenario. And the fans, of course, can already feel it. The energy in Detroit is that this could be the year the team goes far. So, if you believe in this journey, like and comment below. Which of these moves do you think will most impact the Lions' performance in the coming weeks?
The Detroit Lions just surprised everyone with a move that promises to completely change the team's secondary. With a devastating string of injuries ravaging the cornerback core, the team is now targeting a young, athletic reinforcement with NFL starting experience. Sources close to the league have confirmed that the Lions are among the teams interested in Trey Hawkins, a former New York Giants player, a name that is starting to gain traction within the Detroit backroom. This has just happened and is already dominating conversations among fans and analysts. And before I tell you why Hawkins could be the right reinforcement at the most critical moment of the season, take the opportunity to leave a like so this news reaches more Detroit Lions fans, because the next few hours promise plenty of updates straight from the training camp in Allen Park. According to insider Aaron Wilson, the Detroit Lions are one of 5 teams that have expressed interest in cornerback Trey Hawkins, along with the 49ers, Ravens, Dolphins, and Colts. This news comes at a time of intense tension within the Lions roster, which is struggling to maintain stability at the position due to a series of impact injuries. Hawkins, 25, is recovering from a hamstring injury suffered during training camp with the New York Giants this year, which has kept him out of the New York team's plans. He was released from the injured list on September 9th, and since then, several teams have begun monitoring his progress, and the Lions are at the forefront of this competition. What's most striking is Hawkins' physical profile. At 6'3" and with an impressive 4.39-second 40-yard dash time, he's exactly the type of athlete who fits the aggressive, physical style of play that Dan Campbell demands of his defenders. Before the injury, Hawkins had been steadily gaining ground in New York. He was a 6th-round pick in the 2023 draft, but quickly exceeded expectations, appearing in all 17 games of his rookie season, starting 3 of them, and participating in 10 defensive snaps. Over the course of the season, he tallied 35 tackles, 1 interception, and a 74.5 rating against the run, a statistic that draws considerable attention within Detroit's defensive system, known for valuing players who can stop the run and aren't afraid of contact. This physical player trait, something defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn often mentions, is the kind of difference maker that could make Hawkins not just an emergency replacement, but a long-term asset. However, the player still needs to prove he's 100% fit. In December of last year, Hawkins suffered a lower back injury during a game against the Saints, which ended his season prematurely. The good news is that sources close to the team say the cornerback is progressing well and should be cleared to return to training soon. This medical uncertainty is what makes most teams hesitant, but the Lions, under pressure from the current situation, seem willing to take the risk. And there's a reason for that. The cornerback department has simply collapsed. In recent days, Detroit lost DJ Reed, the team's top cornerback, to the injured list. Before him, Ennis Rackstraw, the 2024 second-round pick, had also been sidelined by an injury that ended his season before it even started. Now Terrion Arnold and Khalil Dorsey are also expected to be placed on injured reserve, leaving the Lions with only 3 healthy cornerbacks on the main roster: Amik Robertson, Rock Ya-Sin, and Avonte Maddox. It's a dire situation, with the team having to rely on practice squad players like Eric Hallett, Trey Flowers, and Nick Whiteside just to complete workouts. Given this scenario, the pursuit of Hawkins makes perfect sense. Even with the uncertainty surrounding his fitness, he offers a package the Lions simply can't find on the market right now: youth, speed, and recent starting experience. Furthermore, Hawkins demonstrated with the Giants that he has a natural instinct for covering short routes and reacting quickly in the middle zones, a key element in Glenn's scheme, which relies heavily on blitzes and hybrid zone marking. If he's anywhere near the physical level he displayed at the start of last season, he could become the surprise addition that completely changes the landscape of Detroit's defense. The move hasn't been finalized yet, but the mere fact that Hawkins' name has been linked to the Lions already raises alarm bells throughout the NFL. This shows that Brad Holmes, the team's general manager, is ready to act, and won't let the roster crumble mid-season. Sources close to the franchise say talks are in the early stages, but there's a sense of urgency in Detroit. With the defense being tested every week and the team still aiming high for the playoffs, the moment calls for a quick decision. And if Trey Hawkins does indeed don the blue and silver, you can bet this will be one of those signings no one expected, but one that could prove crucial late in the season. Leave your opinion in the comments. See you next time, fans.